I walked into the kitchen and saw my dishes, tossed in the trash. My daughter-in-law smiled and said, "They were old. I bought new ones." I looked at her calmly and replied, "Perfect. You'll use them in your new home, because you're not staying here." It was time to remind her who really pays the bills in this house. But I didn't say that last part out loud. Not yet. Instead, I stood there in the doorway of my own kitchen, looking at 40 years of memories piled in a black garbage bag, wedding china from 1985. The blue serving platter my wife used every Thanksgiving. The coffee mug my son gave me when he was 7, the one that said, "World's Best Dad" in crayon shaky letters, all of it, in the trash. Vanessa stood by the counter, arms crossed, waiting for me to react. She was my son Tyler's fiancée, 28 years old, real estate agent, drove a white BMW her daddy bought her. She'd moved into my house 6 months ago and apparently decided she was the new landlord. "The new set is from Williams-Sonoma," she said, like that explained everything. "Much more elegant. You'll love them." I didn't love them. I loved my old dishes. But what I said was, "Where's Tyler?" "At work, obviously." She turned back to her phone, dismissing me, in my own kitchen. That's when I knew. This wasn't about dishes. This was a test. She wanted to see if I'd fight back or roll over, if I'd accept her making decisions in my house, throwing away my things, erasing my past. I walked to the trash bag and pulled out my wife's serving platter. It wasn't even cracked. Just old. Just mine. "What are you doing?" Vanessa's voice went sharp. "Taking back what's mine," I said. "Tyler said we could redecorate." "Tyler doesn't own this house, I do." Her smile got tight. "For now." That phrase hung in the air between us like a threat. For now. I should have known then. Should have seen it coming. But you don't expect your own children to plot against you. You don't expect betrayal to smell like Williams-Sonoma dish soap and sound like wedding plans. My name is Frank Miller. I'm 63 years old. I worked construction for 40 years, built half the houses in this town with my own hands. My wife died 8 years ago from cancer. My son Tyler is 31, works in pharmaceutical sales. My daughter Jessica is 29, works as a wedding planner. Both of them think I'm too old to manage my own life. Both of them want my house. And both of them were about to learn what happens when you underestimate a man who poured concrete in the August heat for 4 decades. The house is worth about $850,000 now. I bought it for $140,000 in 1988. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, finished basement, big backyard. It's in a good neighborhood that got better while I wasn't paying attention. Developers keep leaving notes on my door. "We'd love to discuss your property." Tyler started mentioning those notes about a year ago. "Dad, you could sell this place, move into a nice condo. No maintenance, no stairs, no yard work." I told him I liked yard work. Jessica was more direct. "Dad, this house is too big for you. What if you fall? What if something happens and we can't reach you? What if? Every conversation became about my theoretical helplessness. Never mind that I still ran 3 miles every morning. They wanted me weak. They needed me weak. Because weak men sign papers. Weak men move to condos. Weak men hand over their lives to their children and say, "Thank you for the prison sentence." After the dish incident, things escalated fast. Tyler and Vanessa's wedding was set for June, 3 months away. They'd already taken over my living room with seating charts and flower catalogues. Jessica was the wedding planner, naturally, and she'd somehow convinced them to have the reception at the Riverside Hotel. $15,000 for 4 hours. "It's an investment in memories," Jessica told me when I raised my eyebrows at the cost. "Whose investment?" I asked. "Well, traditionally the bride's family pays, but Vanessa's parents are already covering the ceremony venue and the photographer and the dress, so we thought—" "You thought I'd write a check? You're the groom's father. It's customary." I'd already given Tyler $50,000 for a down payment on a house last year. He used it to buy the BMW for Vanessa instead. Told me the housing market was too expensive, they'd wait. Moved into my house temporarily. Temporarily became 6 months. Then Vanessa started redecorating. I'll think about it, I told Jessica. The deposit is due next week. Then I'll think about it fast. She gave me that look, the one that said I was being difficult, that I was being unreasonable, that I was being old. I'd seen that look before, from my foreman 20 years ago, when I told him I could still carry 60-pound bags of cement, from the car salesman who tried to sell me a car with extra safety features for seniors. Everyone wants you old. Everyone wants you weak. Everyone wants you out of the way. But I wasn't ready to disappear yet. That night, I was in my basement office, going through bills, when I heard voices upstairs. Tyler and Vanessa were home, and they weren't alone. I recognized Jessica's voice, and another one, male. Vanessa's brother, probably. Blake, investment banker from Chicago. Wore suits that cost more than I made in a month back in the day. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but my basement office is directly under the living room, and the vents carry sound like a telephone line. He's not going to just give it to us, Tyler was saying. So we make it a condition of the wedding, Vanessa replied. I'm not getting married without financial security. That's basically extortion, Jessica said, but she didn't sound opposed. She sounded curious. It's called leverage, Blake's voice smooth as oil. Your father is old school. He responds to traditional pressure. Make it about family duty. Make it about taking care of you. Make it about his legacy. And if he still refuses, Tyler asked, then we go to Plan B. What's Plan B? A pause, then Blake's voice quieter. Power of attorney. Medical incompetence. You document every time he forgets something, every time he seems confused. Build a case. That's... Jessica's voice trailed off. That's smart, Vanessa finished. My cousin did it with her grandmother. Worked perfectly. I don't know. Tyler sounded uncertain. That feels extreme. Extreme is letting an old man sit on $1 million asset while you struggle to buy a starter home, Blake said. He's not using it. He's just occupying space. You're his children. Silence. Then Jessica spoke. He does forget things sometimes. Last week he couldn't remember where he put his keys. I was 10 feet away when that happened, Tyler said. He found them 30 seconds later. Doesn't matter. What matters is the pattern. You document it. You get a doctor to agree he's declining. You get power of attorney. You make the decisions for him. And the house, Vanessa asked. Sell it, split the proceeds, move him into assisted living, or let him live in your new house if you're feeling generous. They were planning my life, in my living room, in my house. I sat in my basement office, hands shaking, and realized my children were about to steal everything I'd built. Not might. Were. The only question was whether I'd let them. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe, and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? The next 3 months were a masterclass in slow-motion betrayal. Tyler started asking me questions. Little things. Dad, what year did you buy the house? Dad, where did Mum keep the insurance papers? Dad, do you remember your account number at the bank? Every time I answered correctly, he looked disappointed. Every time I hesitated, even for a second, he'd glance at Vanessa. A little look, a confirmation. They were building their case. Jessica started visiting more often, always with her phone out, always recording. Just taking videos for memories, Dad. You don't mind, right? She'd ask me questions while filming. Dad, what did you have for breakfast? Dad, what's today's date? Normal questions, but designed to catch me slipping. I never slipped, but I saw what they were doing. Vanessa stopped pretending to be nice. She'd leave her stuff everywhere. Her shoes in the hallway, her makeup spread across the bathroom counter, her expensive coat thrown over my recliner. When I asked her to clean up, she'd smile and say, "Sorry, Frank, I'm just so busy with wedding planning." She started calling me Frank instead of Mr. Miller. Started treating my house like her house. Started making decisions without asking. She replaced my living room curtains. She threw away my favorite reading chair because it was worn out. She painted the guest bathroom without permission. Every time I objected, Tyler would say, "Dad, she's just trying to help. She's going to be family." But she wasn't family yet, and I was starting to think she never would be. 2 weeks before the wedding, I found documents in Tyler's room. I wasn't snooping. The toilet in the hallway bathroom was running, and I needed the shut-off valve access, which was in the wall between the bathroom and Tyler's closet. I had to move some boxes. That's when I saw the folder. Competency assessment paperwork was written on the tab. Inside were forms, medical evaluation requests, letters drafted to my doctor, a timeline of my supposed cognitive decline. April 3rd, subject couldn't remember doctor's appointment. I'd remembered. I'd rescheduled. Jessica knew that. April 15th, subject left stove on for 3 hours. I'd been making stock. You're supposed to simmer stock for hours. That's how cooking works. May 2nd, subject became aggressive when confronted about household decisions. I'd told Vanessa no, she couldn't throw away my toolbox to make room in the garage. They'd documented 20 instances, 20 lies, 20 pieces of fiction designed to paint me as a confused old man who couldn't manage his own life. At the bottom of the folder was a blank power of attorney form and a real estate listing proposal. For my house. They were planning to sell it before I even knew I'd lost it. I took pictures of everything with my phone. Then I put it all back exactly as I'd found it. That night, I barely slept. I lay in my bed, in the house I'd built with my own hands, and listened to my son and his fiancée laughing in the living room. They thought they'd won already. The wedding was on a Saturday in June. Perfect weather. Sunny, 75 degrees, light breeze. The kind of day my wife would have called blessed. The ceremony was at St. Augustine's Church. 200 guests. Vanessa's family filled the left side of the church. Old money, lots of it. Her father owned 3 car dealerships. Her mother wore a dress that probably cost $5,000. My side was smaller. Some of my old crew from construction, my brother and his wife, some neighbors, people who'd known me for decades and knew I wasn't losing my mind. I walked Tyler down the aisle. He wore a tuxedo that fit him perfectly. He looked happy. He looked like a man who'd made good choices. He looked like a liar. During the ceremony, I watched Vanessa. She was beautiful. I'll give her that. But beauty doesn't mean much when it's wrapped around ambition and greed. When the priest said, "If anyone objects to this union," I almost stood up. Almost. But I didn't. Because this wasn't about stopping the wedding. This was about something bigger. The reception was at the Riverside Hotel, the $15,000 venue that I hadn't paid for. Jessica had written the check herself, then told me I could reimburse her later. I hadn't reimbursed her. I wasn't planning to. Everything was white and gold. White flowers, gold chairs, white tablecloths, gold centerpieces. It looked like a fancy funeral. Maybe it was. The reception started at 6, cocktail hour, then dinner, then dancing. I sat at the family table between Tyler and Jessica. Vanessa's family sat across from us. Her parents, her brother Blake, some aunts and uncles. Blake was the one who'd suggested the power of attorney scheme. I hadn't forgotten that. Dinner was salmon or steak. I had the steak. It was good. I ate slowly, watching everyone, listening to conversations. Vanessa's mother kept talking about real estate, about property values, about how smart it was to downsize in your golden years. She was talking to me. Everyone knew it. I smiled and cut my steak and said nothing. After dinner came the toasts. Jessica stood up first, as maid of honor. She talked about Tyler and Vanessa's love story. She talked about family. She talked about new beginnings. She didn't mention me once. Then Tyler's best man, some guy from college, made a drunk speech about bachelor parties. Everyone laughed. Then it was my turn. I stood up. The room got quiet. 200 people looked at me. I raised my glass. To my son, I said, who I raised to be honest, hard-working, and loyal. Tyler smiled. I hope he remembers those lessons, I continued, even when temptation comes knocking. The smile faltered. And to Vanessa, welcome to the family. I hope you got what you wanted. I sat down. The room stayed quiet for a beat too long. Then someone clapped, and everyone joined in, but the applause sounded nervous. Tyler leaned over. Dad, what was that? A toast, I said. Did I do it wrong? After the toasts, the dancing started. Tyler and Vanessa had their first dance. Then I was supposed to dance with Vanessa while Tyler danced with Jessica. But before the father-daughter dance, Vanessa walked over to my table. She wasn't smiling anymore. Frank, she said, we need to talk. About what? About the house. The music was still playing. People were still dancing. But our corner of the room had gone quiet. Vanessa's parents had stood up. Blake had stood up. Jessica had put down her drink. This was planned. What about the house? I asked. Tyler and I need to move forward with our lives, Vanessa said. Her voice was loud enough for nearby tables to hear. We can't do that while living in your spare bedroom like children. So move out, I said. We don't have the resources to move out because you're sitting on $1 million asset that you don't even need. People were definitely listening now. The dancing had slowed. The music seemed quieter. It's my house, I said. It's a family house. It should benefit the family. It does benefit the family. I live there. Vanessa's face went hard. You're being selfish. You're being unreasonable. Tyler is your son, your only son, and you won't help him. I gave him $50,000 last year. He bought you a car. Her face flushed. That's not the point. What is the point, Vanessa? The point is, we need you to sign over the house, or at least give us the keys so we can take over the mortgage and buy you out. The room had gone completely silent now. Even the band had stopped playing. No, I said. What? No, it's my house. I'm keeping it. Vanessa's hands clenched. You're being ridiculous. You can't even take care of yourself properly. Tyler and Jessica have been covering for you for months. Covering for me? Your memory problems, your confusion, your aggression. There it was, the case they'd built, the lies they'd documented. She was making it public. I don't have memory problems, I said. You forgot your doctor's appointment in April. I rescheduled it. Jessica knows that. You left the stove on for hours. I was making stock. That's called cooking. You've become hostile and paranoid. I've become aware. Tyler stood up. Dad, maybe we should talk about this privately. No, Vanessa said. We're done talking privately. He needs to understand that this is happening, with or without his cooperation. She reached into her purse and pulled out a piece of paper, unfolded it, held it up so I could see it. It was a key request form for my house. Give me the keys, Frank, she said, right now, in front of everyone, or admit that you're mentally unfit to make decisions. 200 people stared at me. This was the moment, the public ultimatum, the choice between humiliation and surrender. Jessica was watching me with her phone out, recording. Blake was smiling. He thought he'd won. Vanessa's hand was extended, waiting for my keys. I looked at my son. Tyler's face was red. He looked embarrassed but determined. He was going to let this happen. He was going to let his fiancée humiliate his father at his own wedding. I stood up slowly. No, I said clearly, loud enough for everyone to hear. Vanessa's face went cold. Then you leave me no choice. She slapped me, hard, across the face, in front of 200 people. The room erupted, Gasps, shouts. Someone screamed. I didn't move, just stood there, my cheek burning, looking at my son's new wife. "You want a war?" I said quietly. "You just started one." Then I pulled out my phone and made one call. "It's Frank Miller," I said when he answered. "I need you to come to the Riverside Hotel, now." "What's wrong?" "Everything, and I'm ready to fix it." I hung up and looked at Vanessa. "You wanted to know what I'm capable of. In about 5 minutes, you're going to find out." The front doors of the reception hall opened. A man walked in, 6'4", built like a linebacker, wearing jeans and a leather jacket. His name was Tommy Burke. We'd worked construction together for 20 years. He'd been my foreman on my last job before I retired. He was also a private investigator now, and he was carrying a folder. Tommy walked straight to our table, ignored everyone else. Looked at Vanessa. "You Vanessa Thompson." She looked confused. "Yes?" "You're being served." He handed her a document, then handed one to Tyler, then to Blake. "What is this?" Vanessa's voice went shrill. "Restraining order," Tommy said, "against you, and theft charges, and fraud charges, and harassment charges." "What?" Tyler was reading his document, face going pale. "Your father hired me 3 months ago," Tommy said. "I've been investigating you, all of you, documenting the harassment, the manipulation, the attempted financial elder abuse." He opened the folder and pulled out photographs. Vanessa going through my mail. Tyler photographing my bank statements. Blake meeting with a probate lawyer. "That's illegal," Vanessa shouted. "No," Tommy said. "What you did is illegal. What I did is called evidence." He turned to the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to interrupt the celebration, but you should know that the bride and groom were planning to have the father of the groom declared mentally incompetent so they could steal his house." The room exploded again. Louder this time, Vanessa's mother started screaming. Her father was yelling at Blake. Jessica was trying to leave, but couldn't get through the crowd. Tommy handed me a document. "Your new security detail starts tonight. Locks change tomorrow morning. Restraining order is active immediately. They come within 100 feet of your house. They get arrested." I took the document and looked at my son. "You wanted me out of the house," I said. "Congratulations. I'm leaving. And so are you. Both of you. Tonight." "Dad," Tyler started. Don't call me Dad. You lost that right when you decided to betray me." I walked out of the reception hall. Behind me, I could hear crying, shouting, the sound of a family imploding. I didn't look back. Tommy drove me home. We didn't talk much. What was there to say? "You okay?" he asked when we pulled up to my house. "No," I said, "but I will be." "You want me to come in? Make sure they didn't leave any surprises?" I shook my head. "I need to be alone for a bit." He nodded. "Locks get changed at 8 a.m. sharp. I'll have a guy here, professional." "Thanks, Tommy." "Frank." He looked at me. "What you did tonight took guts. Most people would have just rolled over." "Most people don't have children like mine." He drove off and I went inside. The house was quiet, empty. For the first time in 6 months, it was actually mine again. I walked through every room, looking at everything, the new dishes in the kitchen, the new curtains in the living room, the painted bathroom, all the changes Vanessa had made without asking. I started putting things back. I went to the basement and dug out my old dishes from where I'd hidden them, washed them, put them back in the cabinets. Threw away Vanessa's Williams-Sonoma set. I took down her curtains, put up my old ones. I moved my reading chair back from the garage, where she'd hidden it. It took me 4 hours. By the time I finished, it was 2 a.m. The house looked like my house again. Then I went to Tyler's room. I took everything out, clothes, shoes, wedding gifts, furniture, everything, piled it all in the driveway. Then I did the same with Vanessa's stuff. By 4 a.m., there was a mountain of belongings on my driveway. clothes and shoes and wedding presents and expensive handbags and Tyler's PlayStation and Vanessa's makeup collection and every single thing that belonged to them. I put a tarp over it. It looked like rain. Then I went to bed. I slept for 3 hours. Best sleep I'd had in months. At 8 a.m., the locksmith showed up. Young guy, early 20s. Tommy had sent him. Heard you had a situation, he said. You could say that. Don't worry, I'll make sure nobody gets in without your permission. He changed every lock in the house. Front door, back door, garage door, basement door. New chains, new everything. While he worked, Tyler and Vanessa showed up. They pulled up in the BMW, saw the mountain of their belongings in the driveway, saw the locksmith. Tyler got out of the car. Dad, what are you doing? What I should have done 6 months ago, I said, evicting you. You can't do that. I own the house. You're not on the lease. You have no legal right to be here. So yes, I can. Vanessa got out of the car. Her face was a mess. Makeup smeared, eyes red. She'd been crying. Good. Frank, please, she said. We can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. You slapped me in front of 200 people. You tried to steal my house. You're done here. We're married, Tyler shouted. I'm your son. You stopped being my son when you decided to betray me. We were trying to help you. By lying to doctors, by forging documents, by building a case to have me declared incompetent. Silence. Yeah, I said. I found your folder. I know everything. Tyler's face went white. You went through my stuff. You went through my life. The locksmith finished the front door. All set, Mr. Miller. Nobody's getting in without these keys. He handed me a new set, 5 shiny brass keys on a ring. I thanked him, paid him, and he left. Tyler and Vanessa stood in my driveway, staring at their belongings. Where are we supposed to go? Vanessa asked. Not my problem, I said. You're both adults. Figure it out. Dad, don't call me that. I walked back into my house and shut the door. Through the window, I watched them load their stuff into the BMW. It took them 6 trips. Vanessa was crying the whole time. Tyler looked shell-shocked. I felt nothing. Or maybe I felt everything and couldn't process it yet. When they drove away, I made coffee and sat at my kitchen table with my old dishes and my old curtains and my old house, and realized I'd won round 1. But round 1 wasn't the war. Over the next week, things got worse. Tyler called me 60 times. I didn't answer. Vanessa called from different numbers, trying to get me to pick up. I blocked everyone. Jessica showed up on day 3. I opened the door, but kept the chain on. Dad, we need to talk. About what? About fixing this, about making things right. You want to make things right? Admit you were part of the plan. She looked away. I didn't know they were going to go that far. But you knew they were going to go somewhere. Silence. You filmed me, Jessica. You documented my supposed decline. You were building a case against me. I was protecting Tyler. From what? His own father? From making a mistake. Dad, you're getting older. You can't manage that house forever. We were trying to help you transition before it became a crisis. I don't need help transitioning. I need family that doesn't treat me like a problem to solve. That's not fair. You want to talk about fair? I raised you. I worked 60-hour weeks to pay for your college. I was there for every birthday, every graduation, every time you needed me. And the second I became inconvenient, you decided I needed to be managed. Tears ran down her face. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. I closed the door. That night, I got a letter from a lawyer. Tyler and Vanessa were suing me for illegal eviction and emotional distress. I called Tommy. Yeah, I figured they'd try that, he said. Don't worry, I've got copies of everything. The documents they forged, the lies they told, the harassment campaign. Any judge will throw their case out. What do I do? Nothing. Let them waste their money on lawyers. You did everything legally. You own the house. They had no lease. You gave them notice. You stored their belongings safely. They don't have a case. They think they do. People think a lot of things when they're desperate. The lawsuit went nowhere, just like Tommy said. But it cost me $8,000 in legal fees anyway. Tyler and Vanessa were living in a hotel. The BMW was a lease, and they couldn't afford to buy a house without using my $50,000, which they'd already spent. Jessica was avoiding me. She stopped calling, stopped visiting, stopped filming her memory videos. I was alone in my house, just like they'd always feared. Except I wasn't afraid. I was angry, because I'd discovered something else. I'd hired Tommy to dig deeper, to find out everything. Not just what they'd done, but why. And he'd found it. 2 weeks after the wedding, Tommy came to my house with another folder. "You're going to want to sit down for this," he said. We sat at my kitchen table. He opened the folder and spread out documents, bank statements, property records, emails. "Your son and daughter have been planning this for over a year," Tommy said, "since before Vanessa was even in the picture." "What?" "Look at this." He pointed to an email dated 14 months ago, from Jessica to Tyler. Subject: Dad's house. "Tyler, we need to talk about Dad. The house is worth almost $1 million now. If we wait until he dies, who knows what the market will be. Plus, inheritance taxes. Plus, he might get sick and medical costs could eat everything. We should consider getting power of attorney now, while he's still healthy. Make it look like estate planning. Get him to sign over control, just in case. Then we decide when to sell. I know this sounds cold, but we deserve to benefit from his assets. We're his children. We've earned it." "Jess," I stared at the email, my daughter's words, my daughter's plan. "There's more," Tommy said. He showed me property records. Jessica had been researching my house value for over a year, getting assessments, meeting with real estate agents, planning the sale. Tyler had been researching elder law, competency requirements, power of attorney procedures, how to legally take control of a parent's assets. They'd been planning this before Vanessa, before the wedding, before any of it. Vanessa wasn't the mastermind. She was just greedy enough to join a plan already in motion. "Both of your kids," Tommy said quietly. "They both decided you were worth more gone than around." I sat there, holding emails my children had written about stealing from me, and felt something break inside. Not sadness, not betrayal. Rage. "I want everything," I told Tommy. "Every email, every document, every conversation. I want to know everything they planned, everyone they involved, every step they took. Frank, everything. I'm not just defending myself anymore. I'm going on offense." Tommy looked at me for a long moment. Then he nodded. "All right," he said. "Let's burn it down." Tommy spent 2 weeks digging. What he found wasn't just a betrayal, it was a conspiracy. He came to my house on a Tuesday with 3 folders, red, blue, and green. "Color-coded?" I asked. "Red is Tyler, blue is Jessica, green is everyone else involved." The red folder was thick. Tyler had been planning this for 16 months. He'd consulted with 3 different lawyers about elder law. He'd researched conservatorship procedures in our state. He'd joined online forums for adult children dealing with difficult aging parents. In one forum post, he'd written, "My dad refuses to accept he needs help. He's stubborn and proud. How do I force him to see reason before he hurts himself?" Responses had been sympathetic. Other people shared stories of parents who wouldn't admit they needed assistance. Several suggested building a documentation case. One person recommended a book called When Parents Won't Listen. Tyler had bought the book, highlighted passages, made notes in the margins. The blue folder was worse. Jessica had been meeting with a real estate agent for a year, not just researching, actively planning. She'd gotten pre-sale estimates, identified potential buyers, mapped out how to split the proceeds. She'd also been in touch with a geriatric care manager, someone who evaluates elderly people for assisted living placement. She'd scheduled a consultation for me without telling me. When I didn't show up, she'd told them I'd forgotten the appointment. The green folder was everyone else. Vanessa's brother Blake, the one who'd suggested power of attorney. He wasn't just some helpful relative. He was in commercial real estate. He'd planned to buy my house below market value through an LLC, then flip it for profit. He'd offered Tyler and Jessica a finder's fee of $100,000 each. Vanessa's parents had known about the plan. They'd encouraged it. They'd even offered to let me live in their guest house after the sale, so I wouldn't be alone. Tyler's best man, the drunk guy from the wedding toast, had helped research probate lawyers. Jessica's boyfriend had helped draft the initial power of attorney documents. At least 8 people had been involved in planning to steal my life. "What do you want to do?" Tommy asked. I thought about it, really thought about it. I could expose them, could send these documents to everyone they knew, could ruin their reputations. But that wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel what I felt, the betrayal, the violation, the helplessness of watching someone take everything you'd built. "We need a plan," I said, "something that hits all of them, something they can't recover from." Tommy smiled. "I was hoping you'd say that." We spent 3 days planning. Tommy had contacts everywhere, private investigators, lawyers, accountants, even a few people who worked in media. We started with Blake. Blake thought he was clever. He'd set up an LLC to buy my house, hidden his involvement, made it look like a random corporate buyer. But Tommy had friends at the county assessor's office. We pulled all of Blake's property records. Turned out he'd been running this scam for years, buying properties from elderly people below market value, flipping them, making huge profits, and he hadn't been reporting all of his income. We sent an anonymous tip to the IRS, complete with documentation, property records, bank statements, tax returns showing discrepancies. The IRS doesn't mess around with real estate fraud. Blake got audited within 2 weeks. His LLC got investigated. His properties got frozen pending review. 1 down. Next was Vanessa's parents. Her father owned 3 car dealerships, successful businesses. But Tommy's research found something interesting. Those dealerships had been investigated 5 years ago for odometer fraud. Nothing was ever proven, but the complaints were on record. Dozens of them. We contacted every person who'd filed a complaint, asked if they'd be willing to talk to a consumer protection reporter. 20 people said yes. The story ran in the local paper 3 weeks later. Local dealership chain faces renewed fraud allegations. Sales dropped 40% in a month. Vanessa's father had to close 1 location. 2 down. Tyler and Jessica were harder. They were my kids. Hitting them felt different. But they'd started this, and I was going to finish it. Jessica's wedding planning business depended on reputation. She charged premium prices because she had connections. Venues, caterers, photographers, everyone gave her discounts because she sent them business. Tommy and I visited every vendor Jessica worked with. We told them what she'd done, showed them the documents, explained how she'd tried to steal from her own father. Some people didn't care. Business is business. But some did care. Especially the family-owned businesses. The ones who understood what family loyalty meant. They stopped working with Jessica, stopped giving her discounts, stopped returning her calls. Within a month, she'd lost half her preferred vendor list. Her business started falling apart. 3 down. Tyler was working in pharmaceutical sales. Good salary, company car, expense account. He'd been there 8 years, but Tommy found something interesting. Tyler had been padding his expense reports. Nothing huge. A few $100s here and there. Extra mileage, inflated meal costs, client meetings that never happened. Over 8 years, it added up to about $30,000. We sent the documentation to his company's ethics hotline. Anonymous tip. Complete records. Tyler got fired 4 weeks later, 4 down. But I wasn't done. The lawsuit Tyler and Vanessa had filed was still pending, still costing me money, still hanging over my head. So we countersued. Tommy helped me find a lawyer, not just any lawyer, a pit bull, someone who specialized in elder abuse cases. We sued Tyler and Vanessa for harassment, attempted fraud, emotional distress, and conspiracy to commit financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. We sued Jessica for the same. We sued Blake for conspiracy and fraud. We asked for $3 million in damages. We didn't expect to win $3 million, but we expected to make their lives hell for the next 2 years of depositions and court appearances. The first deposition was scheduled for October, 5 months away. Tyler would have to sit in a room and answer questions under oath about every lie he'd told, every document he'd forged, every step of his plan to steal from me. All of it on the record. All of it permanently documented. And here's the beautiful part. Even if we lost, even if the judge threw out the whole case, the depositions would be public record. Anyone could read them. Employers, future spouses, background checks. Everyone would know what Tyler and Jessica had tried to do. Their reputations would be destroyed forever. But the best revenge wasn't the lawsuits, or the investigations, or the ruined businesses. The best revenge was simpler. I threw a party. 6 months after the wedding, I sent out invitations to everyone who'd been at the Riverside Hotel, 200 people. The invitation said, "You're invited to a celebration at Frank Miller's house, the house that nobody could take from him. Dinner, drinks, and the truth about what really happened. Saturday, August 15th, 6 p.m. 140 people showed up. I rented tables and chairs, hired a caterer, set up a screen and projector in my backyard. When everyone arrived, I welcomed them, thanked them for coming, offered them drinks. Then I showed them everything. The emails, the documents, the plans, the lies, the whole conspiracy. I projected it on a 10-foot screen. Let everyone read my children's words about me, about stealing my house, about having me declared incompetent, about splitting the money. People gasped, some cried, some left, but most stayed, most watched, most learned the truth. When it was over, I said one thing. I invited you here because you witnessed my humiliation at that wedding. You saw Vanessa slap me. You saw me walk out. And I want you to know why. I want you to understand that I'm not senile. I'm not confused. I'm not the problem. My children decided that my assets were worth more than my autonomy, and they were wrong. The room was silent. I'm hosting this party in the house they tried to take from me. I'm eating food with the dishes they threw away. I'm surrounded by people who know the truth. And that's better than any revenge I could imagine. But I was lying, because the best revenge hadn't happened yet. Tyler called me the day after the party. You had no right, he said. His voice was shaking. With rage, with shame, I couldn't tell. I had every right. I own my story. You humiliated us in front of everyone we know. No, son, you humiliated yourselves. I just made sure people knew about it. We're done, Dad. You hear me? We're done. We were done the moment you decided to betray me. He hung up. Jessica sent me an email. Dad, what you did last night was cruel. We made mistakes, but we're your children. You're supposed to forgive family. I wrote back, Jessica, forgiveness requires remorse. You're not sorry you tried to steal from me. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. She didn't respond, but they weren't done fighting. 2 weeks after the party, I came home to find my front door kicked in. The house had been ransacked, drawers pulled out, closets emptied, furniture overturned. They'd been looking for something. Documents, maybe. Evidence I had on them. Or maybe they were just destroying things out of spite. I called Tommy. Then I called the police. The cops came, took a report, looked around. Any idea who might have done this? Yeah, I said. I've got a pretty good idea. I gave them Tyler's name, told them about the lawsuit, the party, everything. "We'll follow up," the officer said, but his tone suggested he wouldn't. Tommy arrived an hour later, looked at the damage, shook his head. "This is escalation," he said. "They're desperate. They're angry. Same thing sometimes." He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling my security guy. You need cameras, alarms, the works." "Tommy, I can't afford—" "Yes, you can. And you can't afford not to. Frank, they broke into your house. Next time might be worse." He was right. We installed cameras, motion sensors, new reinforced doors, alarm system connected to Tommy's phone and mine. The house started feeling like a fortress. I hated it. 3 days later, the cameras caught Tyler. 2 a.m., standing in my driveway, staring at the house, just standing there, not doing anything, just looking. It was creepy and sad and infuriating. The next morning, I got a letter from Jessica's lawyer. They were amending their lawsuit to include defamation for the party, claiming I'd lied about them publicly. "They can claim whatever they want," my lawyer told me. "Truth is an absolute defense. You didn't lie. You showed documents. This is just harassment." But it worked, because now I had another lawsuit to defend. More money, more time, more energy spent fighting my own children. That's when I realized they didn't need to win. They just needed to make my life miserable until I gave up. But I wasn't giving up. I called Tommy. "I need to hit them harder. What do you have in mind?" "Tyler got fired, but he's still getting unemployment, right?" "Probably." "What if he wasn't eligible for unemployment?" Tommy smiled slowly. "Because he was fired for cause, for fraud." "Exactly. I'll make some calls." Tyler's unemployment claim got rejected 2 weeks later. No income at all now. The BMW got repossessed. He and Vanessa moved from a hotel to a cheap apartment in a bad part of town. I felt good about that for about 5 minutes. Then I felt sick, because he was still my son. Even after everything, some part of me wanted to help him, but I couldn't, because helping him meant losing, meant teaching him that betrayal worked if you just persisted long enough. So I hardened myself, reminded myself what he'd planned, what he'd done, and I kept going. Jessica's business collapsed completely in September. She'd lost too many vendors. Clients started cancelling. By October, she closed her office. She moved back in with her boyfriend, but that didn't last. He broke up with her in November. Turns out, when your girlfriend tries to steal from her own father, it makes people question your character. By December, both my children were broke, unemployed, and living in situations they'd never imagined. And I was alone in my house with my cameras and my alarms and my victory that felt like poison. Tommy came over on Christmas Eve, brought a bottle of whiskey. We sat in my kitchen and drank. "You okay?" he asked. "No." "Want to stop?" "Can't. If I stop now, they'll think it worked. They'll try again." "You've already won, Frank. They're destroyed. They can't touch you. They're desperate. Desperate people do stupid things." "What are you afraid they'll do?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. I found out on January 3rd. I was at the grocery store, buying food for the week. Normal day, normal life. I was putting bags in my trunk when someone grabbed me from behind. Strong hands, young. I tried to turn but couldn't. "Give us the keys," a voice hissed in my ear. "Give us the keys to the house or we'll take them." I drove my elbow back, hit something solid. The grip loosened. I spun around. Tyler, and 2 guys I didn't know. Young, early 20s, looked like trouble. "What are you doing?" I shouted. "What I should have done months ago," Tyler said. "That house is mine. You stole it from me." "I stole my own house. You ruined my life. Vanessa left me. I have nothing. Nothing. And you're sitting in that house like some king while I'm living in a dump." "Vanessa left you?" "Last week. Said she couldn't be with someone so pathetic. His face was a mess. Unshaved, wild eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Tyler, shut up, just give me the keys." "No." One of the other guys stepped forward. "Old man, don't make this hard. I'm not giving you my keys. I'm not giving you anything." The guy swung at me. I ducked, barely, felt the air move past my face. Then I did something stupid. I swung back, my fist connected with his jaw. He went down, hard. The second guy rushed me. I sidestepped and shoved him into my car. He bounced off and fell. Tyler just stood there, staring. "Dad." "I'm 63 years old," I said, "but I poured concrete for 40 years. You think some punk kids scare me?" The first guy was getting up. I grabbed a bag of canned goods from my trunk and threw it at him. 10 pounds of dented cans hit him in the chest. He went down again. "Leave," I told Tyler, "before I call the cops. I'm your son. You stopped being my son when you brought thugs to assault me in a parking lot. I need that house. Then you should have treated me better when I let you live in it." I pulled out my phone, dialed 911. Tyler and his 2 friends ran. The police came, took my statement, reviewed the security footage from the grocery store cameras, issued a warrant for Tyler's arrest. He turned himself in 3 days later, got charged with attempted robbery and assault, spent 2 days in jail before his bail hearing. Vanessa's parents paid his bail, $10,000, but he couldn't come near me anymore. Restraining order extended, criminal charges pending. My son had tried to mug me in a parking lot. That night, I sat in my kitchen and cried for the first time since my wife died. Not because Tyler had attacked me, because I'd failed him. Somewhere, somehow, I'd raised a man who thought stealing from his father was acceptable. Or maybe I hadn't failed. Maybe Tyler had always been like this and I'd just never seen it. Either way, it hurt. Jessica called the next day. "Dad, I heard what happened." "Did you? Tyler's losing his mind. He's desperate. He's criminal. He's your son. Why are you calling, Jessica?" Silence, then. "I want to make a deal." "A deal?" "I'll testify against Tyler. Tell the court everything. How he planned it all. How I went along but didn't know how far he'd go. I'll help you put him away." "In exchange for what?" "You drop the lawsuit against me. You stop ruining my life." I thought about it, really thought about it. "No," I said. "Dad, you want me to forgive you because you're willing to betray your brother. That's not redemption, Jessica. That's just more betrayal." "Then what do you want?" "I want my children back. The ones I raised, the ones who loved me. But they're gone, and I don't think they're coming back." I hung up. The trial was scheduled for March. Tyler's trial, not the civil lawsuit. Criminal court. His lawyer called me, asked if I'd be willing to drop the charges if Tyler got help. Anger management, therapy, community service. "No," I said. "Mr. Miller, he's your son. He's a criminal who tried to rob me. Would you drop charges if a stranger did the same thing?" "This is different." "Why? Because we share DNA. That doesn't give him the right to assault me." "He's going to go to prison. Then maybe he'll learn something." The lawyer hung up. But I couldn't sleep that night. Couldn't stop thinking about Tyler in a cell, about what prison would do to him. He'd betrayed me, tried to steal from me, attacked me. But he was still my son. I called my lawyer the next morning. "I want to talk to Tyler," I said, "in person, at the jail. I don't think that's a good idea." "I don't care what you think. Set it up." The jail visiting room was cold. Grey walls, metal chairs, a table between us. Tyler looked terrible. Thin, pale. His eyes were hollow. "Dad," he said when they brought him in. "Tyler." We sat there for a minute, not talking, just looking at each other. "Why are you here?" he finally asked. "I don't know. Maybe because I'm an idiot. Maybe because you're still my son, even though you don't deserve to be." "I'm sorry." "Are you?" He looked down. "I don't know. I'm sorry I got caught. I'm sorry everything fell apart. I'm sorry my life is ruined. But you're not sorry you tried to steal from me. Silence. That's what I thought, I said. You don't understand. Vanessa's family had money. Her parents had money. Everyone around me had money. And I was just a pharmaceutical sales guy living in my dad's house. I felt like a failure. So you decided to steal my house? I decided to take what was mine. It was never yours. I'm your son. I should inherit it eventually. Why not now? Why should you sit on all that value while I struggle? Because I earned it. I built it. I paid for it. It's mine. It's just a house. No. I leaned forward. It's my life. Every brick, every board, every nail. I put them there. With my hands. With my sweat. That house is 40 years of my work. And you thought you deserved it just because you were born. Tyler's face went red. That's not fair. Life's not fair. I worked 60-hour weeks to give you a good childhood. I paid for your college. I helped with your down payment. I gave you everything I had. And it still wasn't enough. You still wanted more. Because you have more. So take it. Just take it because you want it. Why not? You're old. You're going to die eventually. The house will be ours anyway. And there it was. The truth. The ugly, naked truth. No. Not murdered, but gone. Out of the way. In a nursing home or an assisted living facility or wherever old people go when their children decide they're inconvenient. You wanted me erased so you could have my stuff. That's not... Yes, it is. And you know what the really sad part is? I would have given you the house. Eventually. When I was ready. When I was too old to maintain it. I would have signed it over and moved somewhere smaller. But you couldn't wait. You had to take it. You had to steal it. You had to betray me to get what you wanted a few years earlier. Tyler started crying. I didn't mean for it to go this far. But it did. And now here we are. You're in jail. I'm alone. And our family is destroyed. What do you want me to say? I don't want you to say anything. I want you to understand. I want you to really, truly understand what you did. I stood up. God moved toward us. Dad, wait. Please. Tell them to drop the charges. Please, I'll do anything. Anything except the one thing that matters. What? Be sorry. Not for getting caught. Not for failing. But for betraying me. For deciding that my life was worth less than your greed. I walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back. You asked why I came here. I came to say goodbye. Not to the man sitting in that chair, but to my son, the one I thought I raised. He's gone, and I don't think he's coming back. I left. The trial happened in March. I testified, told the truth. Tyler was convicted of attempted robbery and assault. The judge gave him 3 years. With good behavior, he'd served 20 months. Jessica's trial for the civil suit was scheduled for May, but she settled out of court. Agreed to pay $50,000 in damages, admitted fault in writing. The document was public record, her admission that she'd tried to defraud her father. Vanessa disappeared, moved back to Chicago, divorced Tyler while he was in prison. Blake's IRS case was still ongoing. Last I heard, he owed $2 million in back taxes and penalties. By the summer, it was over. I'd won. Completely. Totally. My children were destroyed. My house was secure. My life was mine again. And I'd never felt more alone. Tommy came over in June. We sat on my back porch, drinking beer, watching the sunset. You did it, he said. Yeah. So why do you look miserable? Because I won a war against my own children. What kind of father does that? The kind whose children declared war first. Maybe. Or maybe I took it too far. Maybe I should have found a way to fix things instead of burning everything down. You tried to fix things. They sued you. They broke into your house. Tyler tried to rob you. I know, but they're still my kids. Tommy didn't say anything for a while. Then, you did what you had to do. You protected yourself. That's not wrong. It doesn't feel right either. We finished our beers. Tommy left. I stayed on the porch until it was dark. The house felt huge, empty, all mine, just like I'd wanted. In September, I got a letter from Tyler, from prison. Dad, I've had a lot of time to think about what I did, about who I became, about what I threw away. You were right. I wasn't sorry for betraying you. I was sorry for getting caught. I was sorry for losing. But I wasn't sorry for what I tried to do. I am now. Not because prison is hard, though it is, but because I finally understand what I took from you. Not just the house, but the trust, the relationship, the family. I know you probably won't forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I want you to know, you were a good father, better than I deserved, and I failed you. Not the other way around. I don't expect anything from you. Not money, not visits, not forgiveness. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, really sorry, for all of it. Tyler. I read the letter 3 times, put it down, picked it up, read it again. Was it real? Was he manipulating me again? Or had he actually learned something? I didn't know, couldn't know. But I wrote back, Tyler, I got your letter. I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I can trust you again. But I want you to know, you're still my son, even after everything, even now. I'm not dropping the charges. I'm not fixing your life. You need to do that yourself. But when you get out, if you want to talk, really talk, I'll listen. That's all I can offer. Dad, I sent the letter. Didn't expect a response. Didn't get one. Jessica called me in October. First time we'd talked since she settled. Dad, I'm moving to Oregon. Fresh start. Good luck with that. I know you're angry. I know you'll probably always be angry. But I want you to know I learned something about greed, about family, about what matters. What matters, Jessica? Not houses, not money, not any of it. I threw away my family for a piece of real estate, and now I have nothing. You have your life. You have a chance to start over. Do I? Because everywhere I go, people know what I did. The trial was public. My admission was public. I'm the daughter who tried to steal from her father. That's my reputation now. Then build a new one. How? By being better, by actually meaning it when you say you're sorry. Silence. Then, are you going to forgive me? I don't know. Ask me in 5 years. 5 years? It took you 2 years to plan stealing from me. It's going to take longer than that to earn trust back. She hung up. I stood in my kitchen, the kitchen I'd fought for, the kitchen with my old dishes, the kitchen in the house that was mine. And I realized something. I'd won. But winning didn't mean I was happy, didn't mean things were better, just meant I'd survived. My children were gone, maybe forever, maybe not. My house was mine, completely, totally. But it was just a house. The doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it. Tommy stood there, with another folder. What now? I asked. Thought you should see this. He handed me the folder. Inside were documents. From Blake's IRS case, emails, evidence. From Blake to Vanessa's father. Dated 3 years ago, before Tyler even met Vanessa. Subject, the Miller property. Jim, I've identified a prime target. Frank Miller, 60, widowed, owns property worth $800K, has 2 adult children. Daughter works in event planning, son in pharma sales. Vanessa is the right age. Same social circles as the son. She can make an approach, start dating him, gain access to the family. Timeline, 18 months to engagement, 6 months to wedding, then we execute. Power of attorney route or direct sale, depending on resistance level. Split, 40% to me, 30% to you, 30% to Vanessa. Kids get nothing unless they cooperate. The old man will never see it coming. B, I stared at the email. Read it again. Again. They targeted you. Tommy said quietly. From the beginning. This wasn't your kids' idea. They were recruited. Vanessa met Tyler on purpose? Looks like it. Blake identified you as a mark. They planned the whole thing. Tyler and Jessica were just pawns. I sat down heavily. So my kids were manipulated, used. Blake and his family saw an opportunity and used your children to get to you. But Tyler and Jessica went along with it. Yeah, they did. They're not innocent, but they're not the masterminds either. I looked at the email again. 3 years of planning, 3 years of manipulation. Tyler never had a chance. Neither did Jessica. They'd been set up, groomed, turned against me by people who saw me as nothing but a payday, and I'd destroyed my children's lives fighting back. What do I do with this? I asked. Whatever you want. You could give it to Tyler's lawyer. Might help his case, show he was manipulated. Would it? Probably not. He still did what he did. But it's context. I thought about Tyler in prison, about Jessica in Oregon, running from her past, about how I'd won the war but lost my family. Can we prove it? I asked. The whole conspiracy, Blake's involvement, the plan. With this email, yeah, we can prove Blake and Vanessa's family conspired to defraud you, federal crime. Then do it. Go after them. All of them. Tommy smiled. Now we're talking. The federal investigation took 6 months, but when it hit hard. Blake got indicted for elder fraud conspiracy. Vanessa got indicted as an accessory. Her father got indicted for fraud and RICO violations. All 3 went to trial. All 3 got convicted. Blake got 7 years. Vanessa got 3. Her father got 10. The civil penalties were worse. They had to forfeit all proceeds from the scheme, had to pay restitution, lost their businesses, lost everything, just like they'd tried to make me lose everything. When the verdicts came down, I drove to the prison where Tyler was, showed him the news articles, the court documents, the proof that he'd been a target all along. You were right, he said quietly, about everything. I wasn't right about everything. I thought you were the enemy. Turns out you were the victim. I still did it, Dad. I still tried to take your house. Because they told you to, because they manipulated you, because they made you think it was the right thing to do. That doesn't excuse it. No, but it explains it. An explanation matters. We sat there for a long time, not talking, just sitting. When I get out, Tyler finally said, I don't expect you to let me back in your life. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to try, to be better, to be the son you deserved. When you get out, I said, we'll start over. Not where we were, but somewhere new, somewhere honest. You mean that? I mean it. I drove home, to my house, my fortress, my victory, and for the first time in 2 years, it felt like home again. Not because I'd won, but because I'd found a way forward. The war was over, the enemy was defeated, my house was mine. But more than that, I'd learned something. About family, about trust, about what's worth fighting for. Some things are worth burning down everything to protect. Your dignity, your autonomy, your right to live your own life. But family, real family, that's worth rebuilding, even after betrayal, even after war, even after everything burns. Tyler got out of prison 14 months later, showed up at my door on a Tuesday morning. I opened it. We looked at each other. Dad, he said. Son, I replied, and we started over. Not where we'd been, but somewhere new, somewhere real. Jessica came back from Oregon 6 months after that. Knocked on the same door, same nervous look. I opened it. We looked at each other. I don't have much, she said. Lost everything, starting from scratch. Good, I said. Now you know how it feels. I'm sorry, for real this time. I know, come in. We sat in the kitchen with my old dishes, the kitchen in the house they'd tried to take. And we talked. Really talked. For the first time in years. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fixed. But it was a start. The house is still mine. Will be until I die. Then Tyler and Jessica will inherit it. If they want it. But now they know what it cost. What I sacrificed. What it means. And they know that family isn't about money or property or inheritance. It's about trust and loyalty and the willingness to rebuild after everything burns. I'm 65 now, 2 years older than when this started, 2 years wiser. My house is worth over $1 million. I could sell it, move somewhere easier, somewhere smaller, but I won't. Because it's not about the house. It never was. It was about refusing to disappear, refusing to be erased, refusing to let anyone decide my life was over just because I'd gotten old. I walk into my kitchen every morning, see my old dishes in the cabinets, my old curtains on the windows, my old chair in the living room, and I remember what it took to keep them. Not money, not lawyers, not revenge, but the simple, stubborn refusal to give up what was mine. They wanted me out of this house. They wanted me gone. They wanted me erased. But I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere.